Hey, what's up? My name is Daniela and welcome to a new video. Today I'm doing a very fun tag that was recently created by Violet from the channel Violet and the Never-Ending TBR. I was tagged by Violet and I will leave her original video in the description. Her channel is amazing, so definitely check her out. And the beauty of this tag is that you can do it repeatedly, each time choosing a different genre, which is an idea that is super cool. You may know that I love a lot of different genres, but today I've decided to talk about books that are either thrillers or mysteries or crime. In my stats I count all of these together, so I'm going to be mentioning any books that fall into one of these subcategories. Okay, so without further ado, let's look at the questions. So question number one is one of your favorite standalone in this genre, and for this I'm going to choose An Anonymous Girl by Sarah Pekkanen and Greer Hendricks. So this is a thriller that is told from two perspectives. We have a young woman who needs some money quickly, so she signs up for this psychological experiment, and the second perspective is from the point of view of the doctor who is conducting the study, but the woman soon realizes that the study is not what she thought it would be, because it went really personal really quickly, and then she was asked to actually do some real-life experiments. And basically soon the doctor starts to have a really big influence on our main characters called Jessica Life, and things develop from there. So I've read two books from this author duo. I read this one and also The Wife Between Us, and I adored both of them. I listened to both of them on audiobook and I just couldn't stop listening to them. The story sucked me in pretty immediately. It was thrilling, it was psychological, and the audiobook was really well done. The narrator who played the doctor was so distant and cold and clinical, and it was just so well done. I loved the audiobook. I know that these two books received mixed reviews on BookTube because some people don't find them especially thrilling, but for me they really are. I think I preferred An Anonymous Girl a bit more than The Wife Between Us, because The Wife Between Us is more of a classic domestic thriller, and it also features an abusive relationship, so obviously it's not a subject matter for everyone to read about. And An Anonymous Girl has this weird relationship between a doctor and a study participant, which is a bit more unusual, and the intricacies of their relationship certainly added to the drama and Jessica's uncertainty about what is going on. So yeah, I highly recommend both of these books, and if you decide to give them a try, I would really recommend listening to the audiobooks. Question number two is, what is one of your favorite series in this genre? So this is easy because these are some of my favorite books of all times, and I'm talking of course about the Cormoran Strike series. I'm going to hold volume 1 because these books are heavy. So this is a series written by J.K. Rowling under the pseudonym of Robert Galbraith, and in this series we follow a private detective called Cormoran Strike who hires an assistant named Robin. So as the detective series go, we have a different case in each volume, and Robin and Cormoran develop more than a strictly professional relationship because they spend a lot of time together, and it turns out that Robin is actually really interested in this line of work, so she has some career development while working with Cormoran. So there are several reasons why I really love this series. So first, I really love J.K. Rowling's writing. Obviously not only in Harry Potter, but in this series it's really well written. Another thing is that I love the characters, their development and their relationship. It's kind of a will they won't they, which I personally am a sucker for. Then I also love the setting of these books. So these books are set in London, and she manages to describe them really vividly, and I always want to go back to London ASAP. And in some volumes there are also other places, like I think Scotland or some rural places. As far as the actual cases go, the first one, I must say, is not the best. I mean, I gave all of these volumes 5 stars, but in my opinion, the series only gets better. So my favorite ones are Volume 3, which is Career of Evil, and in this we follow a serial killer, and we also get his perspective, which is super disturbing but also super exciting. And then the newest volume is Volume 4, which is called Lethal White, and in this we follow a case inside of a British Parliament and people involved, and it's really chunky, but this is another amazing volume. Yeah, so this series has so many great things, so it's definitely worth a try and worth continuing in. I kind of match with this book, I like it. But yeah, I could probably rave about these books for a very long time, so let's move on. So question number 3 is, what is a trope you like in this genre? Okay, I have several answers for this one. So I really like when we get a perspective from the villain, usually a murderer, and when they are really clever. So the detective or the other side has to be really clever as well, and we have these mind games, and they all really have to step up their game to stay in the game. So yeah, I really enjoy that. I also really enjoy when a story is really intricate and has all these little pieces that come together at the end, and you just want to start reading the book again immediately to see the clues. I also really like detective investigation in general, maybe more so when it's a private detective, so they have to be more resourceful because not all the resources are available to them. And another thing I also love is courtroom drama. So recently I read 13 by Stephen Kavanagh, and it was one hell of a court drama. Highly recommend that one. Question number 4 is, what is a trope you don't like in this genre? So that would be when the plot of the book or the plot twists don't really make sense, they don't have a logical explanation, and they seem to be used only for the shock value. I sometimes see this at the very end of the book, where there is the final plot twist, or you think it's the final plot twist, which kind of makes sense, but like on the last page the author has to come up with another plot twist that is completely unnecessary, and it just makes you roll your eyes. Question number 5 is a disappointing book in the genre. So I'm going to go with You by Caroline Kepnes. So I had pretty high expectations for this one. So it is about a stalker who meets a woman and they actually start a relationship, but he also continues to stalk her. And it's told from his perspective and in second person, so it was supposed to be really disturbing and creepy, stuff like that. Well, it was really disturbing, but mostly because he was like thinking about her in creepy sexual terms from second one, and otherwise it was really disappointing. It wasn't very thrilling, it was just disgusting and kind of boring. The characters were highly unlikable, which I know it was on purpose, but like all of the characters were unlikable, including all of the side characters. And I know that some people mentioned that they were starting to feel compassionate or bad for the main character, the stalker, Joe I think he was called, but I didn't experience anything of that sort. I just was really annoyed by everyone and I wanted to be done with it, so I definitely want to be reading the sequel. Question number 6 is, what is a book on your TBR that you want to get to soon? So that's this one book that I'm really hyped for, and it's The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. So it has been all over BookTube lately and most people have been raving about it, and it's basically retelling or reimagination of The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. I didn't especially enjoy The Turn of the Screw, but I'm really interested in this one. It sounds very intriguing. I haven't read any Ruth Ware and I think this would be a good place to start, maybe. I don't know much about the plot, but I think it's about a smart home which is creepy and it sounds really intriguing. And another book I'm really hyped for is Verity by Colleen Hoover, and it's about a woman who goes into someone else's house and she's supposed to finish writing someone else's novel, and while doing that she discovers some unsettling things, I guess. I really like going into thrillers, but not only thrillers, but especially thrillers, not knowing almost anything, so that's why I don't have that much information about the plot. Question number 7 is an intimidating book or series. So, for example, any book by Stephen King is intimidating for me, and I know he writes mostly horrors, but I guess that some of his books could be categorized as mysteries. Right now I have The Institute here, but I think this is horror. I don't know how much of a thriller or mystery it is. Also, any authors that are known for brutal scenes or like being really explicit, Karen Slaughter comes to mind. But from my high priority TBR, it would be The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is a little bit intimidating for me because I heard it can be confusing, and I got it from NetGalley a while ago and I've been putting it off, and especially when it's an ebook, I think like I get confused easily because you can't easily go back and forth, but I really want to read it. It was more suitable for October probably because I think it's going to be creepy, and it's about a man who wakes up in a different body each day, and basically the day keeps repeating itself and he has to discover who murdered this girl in order to escape the cycle. But yeah, I'm really interested in this one, so I should get to it really soon. Question number 8 is, what is another book genre you would like to read more of? So this is a difficult question for me because I'm interested in so many genres and I would like to read more from most of the genres. Because the disadvantage of reading eclectically is that you don't really feel like an expert in any given genre because I just keep switching between them. So I always feel like I haven't read enough books in any given genre. But okay, the genre that I would like to read more from is sci-fi, and not necessarily like in space sci-fi, more like on the earth sci-fi, because I don't tend to reach for it very often, but when I do, I usually really enjoy it. So I loved Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I just finished Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Nouvel, and I really enjoyed this one as well. So if you have any recommendations for books like this, I would be glad. And also maybe non-fiction. We have non-fiction November right now, and I read non-fiction consistently, but I could venture into other types of non-fiction because usually I read psychology books or self-help books, so I could read something a little bit different. Question number 9 is, what genre intimidates you the most? Okay, so first I thought it would be historical fiction, but it's probably more like I'm not that interested in historical fiction, you know. I read my fair share in school and now I just don't feel like picking it up. When I do, I sometimes enjoy it, but yeah, it's more like lack of interest than intimidation, although they are intimidating. But the thing that really intimidates me are fantasy series, especially when they are super long or when people tell about them that they have these super complex systems, and it takes me a long time to actually try them. Like with Mistborn, I tried the Final Empire and I loved it, but I haven't continued, but I should. But yeah, with the long series, I just feel like it's such a commitment because I can read only one book or a few books, but there will be always this feeling that I'm missing out on the later volumes, so it sometimes feels better not to start before I'm ready, and you know, am I ever ready? I don't know. Alright, and the last point is to just tag people. So I'm going to tag Rhea from The Book Finch, then Jiva from Reader Life, Pauline from Dancing Lawn, and Sarah from Sarah the Dreamer. Alright, that's all for this tag. I really enjoyed it. It's a great tag, so if you want to do it and I haven't tagged you, feel free to do it as well. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! Like Jessica's uncertainty about what?